Hey everyone! Now we all know that the main driving force behind our desire to learn a foreign language is motivation, of course. Some people learn it because they're either moving to a foreign country or have to interact with foreigners at their job. But for my student and friend Mike, this motivation was love and the desire to speak with his wife in her native language. This is the interview that we filmed when they were visiting Kyiv, and we got to talk more with Mike about his impressions of being in Ukraine for the first time, and also what it's like to learn Ukrainian as a native English speaker. Hope you enjoy it. Hello!
It's
So nice to meet you. Thank
nice
you
to
for
meet
the...
you in person,
Yes,
and I'm glad you got the Statue of Liberty.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Mike. He's my American friend who's visiting in Ukraine with his wife, and he kindly agreed to give an interview about what he found surprising or challenging in Ukraine, and as somebody who's actually learning Ukrainian. So let's dive in. So the first question would be, what was your first impression when you arrived in Ukraine?
It was in the middle of the night, so that was a little
Starting strong
interesting.
here.
Yeah, and at the border and waiting and things like that. But I would say the first time I had a real impression was when the light was coming up, as you know, as the sun was coming up, and I got to see the land as the bus was going along. And I, unfortunately, like, I don't sleep on an airplane. I can't sleep on the bus either. So my wife is sleeping. I'm not. I'm kind of like looking around, looking at the tablet and everything. And the first real impression was the land. And it's just not acres. This is hours of just really just beautiful land. The fields, the crops, and as far as the eye can see, you know, and it just kept going. And the thought that went through my mind was, this is what Putin wants.
Yeah.
He wants the land. He wants control of the grain. He wants...
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Actually, this is what our flag symbolizes. So the blue and the yellow. The blue is for the sky, and the yellow for the endless fields.
The fields.
Yeah.
And it was just gorgeous. And it just keeps going on with all of the driving to from Melnitsky and between the border and Melnitsky, and then to the village and back, and from Melnitsky to Kyiv, seeing the land. You know, it's just really very, very impressive.
Another question I would like to ask you
Yeah.
is, what is one thing about Ukraine that you wish more people in the US would know or understand?
There's quite a bit, but probably a couple of important things are, first and foremost, it's kind of like the breadbasket of Europe. And North Africa, and even into the Middle East. In America, everybody knows about the Great Plains, because that's where all the food is, you know, most of the food is really grown. Not just in Southern California, in the valley, but in the central and northern parts of the U.S. is fields. Entire states are just like it's cornfields or soybeans or wheat, like just goes for miles. Ukraine is like that. And I distinctly remember riding on the bus, and we were going through, and it just for hours I saw this wonderful land, and I could see the crops and I could see everything. And I think I mentioned previously about how when I saw that, as loud as a bell in my head went off, it's like, this is what Putin wants, you know. But then it's also there's no getting around the war, the resiliency, the toughness, just the commitment, the determination of the people is just, it's so tough. it's very, very impressive how strong the people are and how focused they are. They're very grateful. I don't think many people in the United States really know, because the politics is, there's like the post-Trump world of, there's no such thing as truth anymore.
Yeah.
But you can count on this. The people are extremely grateful to all the help from the United States. They just don't really get how grateful they are, because this is an existential thing. It's keeping alive. They're keeping their country, their land, their identity, all of that stuff is just so clear in the mind of these people, because there's somebody who wants to take it away and ruin it and destroy it. And if there's anything that Americans understand, is that kind of identity, that kind of focus, the rule of law, the Bill of Rights, no kings, no dictators, not going to tolerate it. And I don't really think many people in the United States really see that it is so much like it's what the Ukrainians are facing is something that Americans hold clear in their identity as what it is to be.
Yeah, the right
an
to
American.
exist.
That's right. The right to exist, kicked the
free.
king out, created our own way of life and our own country and our own nation, And it's not difficult to be 1,000% behind what Ukraine is facing,
Thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome.
So, Mike, let's move to the language question of it all. Would you like to tell more about how you began to learn Ukrainian?
One of the things that I did to really started out that I just intuitively knew was I fundamentally had to do. I had to start with the alphabet. The English alphabet is 26 letters. The Ukrainian's 33. So to learn all that and to learn the new letters that don't exist in the English alphabet was okay. That was very helpful. But once I learned the letters and how to pronounce the letters, then I could read the words. I didn't understand what the words were, but I was pronouncing the words properly.
Yeah.
And that made a difference. And then it was real slow in pronouncing one word after another in a thing, and seeing the emphasis, where the emphasis is, and the cadence of how a sentence is spoken. That really helped too. So I had fun with it, and it was interesting. It really drew me in, and got me interested in doing it. So that's kind of like how I've gone, and I'll use Google Translate, and I'll play with it. I'll just go around and try to learn different words. It's mostly words. I'm just beginning to get to where I'm able to say an entire sentence, but I'm going to keep at it. I'm excited. She's happy. It makes her so happy when she hears me say, "Ya kohayu tebe."
That's the sweetest expression.
Exactly. Once she heard that, she wanted me to say that in front of all of her friends, and they were just, "Oh, isn't that wonderful?"
Beautiful. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Much
Thank you so much
for this interview. It was a pleasure to talk to you. It was also interesting for me to hear your perspective, because I'm Ukrainian, I live in Ukraine, and it's interesting to see the country and the language from the point of view of somebody who is just visiting, who is just
for the very first time. Yes.
Yeah, for the very first time, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. All right.
Bye.